Boutilliers Ghost 19.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got a bottle of the Boutillers Ghost 19 Barleywine. This is, I think it's the first Barleywine I've reviewed on my channel, and it's a bit of an acquired taste, is Barleywine. It's a very strong type of ale that's brewed with lots of malt, and there are two different styles. You've got an American style and a British style. The British style is very malt heavy. The American style is more bitter, and because it uses more hops in it, but the alcohol is the same, and it's, I suppose you could compare it to a triple bock, maybe a German triple bock, but there's other stuff that's been added to it, and especially this one as well. I'll go into that in a minute. But perhaps the most famous one in the UK is Gold Label, that was brewed by tenants. And when my mum's Irish, when she first came over to England, she didn't really drink, and she thought it would be a good idea to drink some barley wine because it sounded quite innocent. She was off work for 3 days with the hangover that she got from that. So, without further ado, I will get this bottle open. It's got a very nice cap on it. It's from the Boutillers Brewery in Faversham in Kent. They're a really good small craft brewery based around the back of a farm shop in Faversham, and they use a lot of Kentish hops and local produce and stuff, and they love experimenting. I've just tried their saison, and that was quite nice. It had pomegranate and peach puree or something like that, and yeah, it was a good one. This is a barley wine, as I say. It's 11%, so you've got to treat this with respect. It contains, and they do this on the side of their bottles, and I really like this. This is a good touch. They use Target and Phoenix hops in this. They use Maris Otter malt, Munich malt. They use Muscovado, which is a type of cane sugar. They use it in rum as well. They distill rum with Muscovado sugar as well. It's got cocoa nibs. That's just cocoa beans crushed up. You know, it gives a very, very bitter chocolate flavour. And it's got fruit tea in it as well. They seem to be a fan of putting fruit tea into their drinks. They did it in the saison as well. But it's good to say, it's quite a nice bottle. There's the label if you want to have a quick gander at that. I'll just get this in the focus. There you go. There's the label. There is the back, and on the side they have got all the ingredients. Got a nice wax covering on the cap. This is brewed in the winter. I think this is a sort of a Christmas ale. Traditionally, barley wine is a sort of winter drink, but this particular brewery, Boutillers Brewery, they do a seasonal one, barley wine, and this is it. Not cheap. This cost me, I think it was nearly £8. So I'll go into all that later. So let's just get it open. And there you go, there is the wax. The waxy cap has been taken off. What we're getting out of the bottle. Spirit alcohol, as you would expect from 11% beer. Slight fruit on that, like dark raisin, toffee, bit of dark chocolate on that. It smells really interesting. Let's get it into the glass. And the reason it's called a barley wine is the ABV and well, the gravity on it is very similar to wine, but where it's brewed with malt, it's brewed with grain, as they call it. It can't be classed as a wine, which I think is good. It's unfiltered, so it's very murky. It's a brownish, murky brown colour. Not much of a head. I wasn't expecting much of a head in it anyway, not with that high alcohol content on it. It looks like there's a fair bit of carbonation on there as well. Again, very sweet. Spirit alcohol. Dark fruit. Again, it's just everything that was in the bottle, just amplified. Let's get it down the hatch. Well, that is interesting. It's very sweet, I will say that, as a barley wine should be. They're always very sweet, so you know you've got to take that into consideration. You've got more spirit alcohol going on in that as well. That's really, you can feel that going down into your stomach. That is not, it doesn't burn, but it's like warming. It's nice. What else have we getting? That sugar's quite strong in that, and which is probably a good thing, because I do like necking my beers, and that's making me not want to chuck it down my throat. That is definitely a beer to be savoured, and you have to. At 11%, you cannot really neck that and expect to get away with it. The carbonation is, it's not too obtrusive in that. But a combination of the sugar, the spirit alcohol, the chocolate notes that you get on that as well, it's like dark bitter chocolate. It's very reminiscent of, you know, them strong beers that you get from Belgium, you know, the Westmalle triple and stuff like that, you know, that you really sort of, you need to savour it. This is very, very similar, but this has got a lot more sweetness going on in it as well. It's quite nice. As I say, the Muscovado sugar is used in rum. I'm almost getting rum flavours in there as well. There's a little bit of spice on the back end of that as well, like a little bit of sort of pepper. I'm trying to think what the other spice is. Is it cinnamon, possibly, or ginger? Something like that. But I'm getting that on right on the very end of it. But it's nice. I quite like this. It's really good. As I say, the Boutillers Brewery, they're based in Faversham in Kent, which is the same place as Shepherd Neame. They're based on a farm. They try to use as much as possible locally produced hops, which are, I know they use East Kent Goldings in a lot of their stuff, and Fuggles as well, which are grown locally in Kent. And they've got a pretty good sort of experimentational sort of ethos to their brewing, which I quite like. how would I rate this? Well, it is like a barley wine. It's a typical barley wine. It's very strong. Lots of spirit alcohol in there. Lots of sweetness to it. Not treacly though. You know, you get them horrible. I think the gold label barley wine, I don't know if you've ever tasted that or not, but that's got that sort of treacle sort of flavour to it. This hasn't. This is quite nice. The sugar is present in there and it makes it quite sweet. I couldn't drink a lot of this just for the fact that it is very sweet on the palate. Aside from that, it's a very nice winter drink. You could just imagine, you know, on a cold night, sitting in front of the fire, sipping this, you know, after a big hearty meal or something. And that'd go really well with some cheese or something savoury, and that sweetness in there will counteract all the savouriness in it. But all in all, what would I give it? On its own merits, I'd say this is a worthy 7 out of 10 as far as barley wine goes. The cost is always going to be an issue. £8 a bottle is not cheap, and there are cheaper barley wines out there. Would I recommend it? If you're a fan of barley wine, yes, I would. If you've never tasted barley wine before, I suggest you buy a cheap bottle of, you know, the gold label stuff. That will give you a rough indication of what you're sort of getting yourself into. It is a beer style all on its own, and some people like barley wine, and some people don't. You know, if you're a fan of your IPAs and your hoppy beers and all that, it may not be for you. If you like your stouts and your porters and your dark beers, you might like this. But if you're a fan of your Belgian triples and your triple box and stuff like that, then you probably would like that. The sweetness may be an issue with this particular one. I'm finding that muscovado sugar to be quite strong in this, and it does dominate a lot. But it's nice, it's okay, and I can feel that warmness from the alcohol, which is really nice. So yeah, 7 out of 10, but recommended with caution on account of the price. And obviously, if you've never tasted barley wine, I would suggest not shelling out £8 in case you don't like it. But there you go, Boutilliers Ghost 19. And remember, beer is working class champagne.